So, hi, I'm here with Patrick Henningsen, and very proud and honored that you want to give me this interview. We're here at Liverpool Co. And I'm just starting to be a presenter on my subject, which is a positive focal point for the truth movement. I like to focus on that in the future, but frankly, I don't know much about becoming a presenter. And I'm first asking for kind of advice. What would you say to someone who is just beginning? And in terms of first, perhaps what events led you to becoming a speaker? How did you do it, so to speak?
That's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about it very much these days, but how I started was I wrote a lot. I did a lot of articles. So, and then I would go into radio shows and podcasts. So doing live speaking, it came later. So before I did live speaking, I was talking to podcasts, radio shows. That would have been in the early 2000s, or 2008, 9, 10, that sort of time. And then I got invited to do a live talk, and I had never done a live talk a few years later, and I was very nervous. I didn't, but I had a lot of work. I had a lot to talk about because I'd published a lot and done a lot of work, and I had been on the news programs as a reporter. But it's one thing to be a reporter; it's another thing to speak to an audience. Two different things. So it's much more difficult, I think, to speak to a live audience at first. It takes time. You get nervous, and dealing with interacting with the audience is totally different. And, when you're talking to a camera, you're talking to the world, but you're talking to basically a machine.
Yes.
And so, but you pretend you know that what you're talking to, whether it's on a live stream or whether it's recorded and it'll be uploaded or broadcast or whatever, that it's going out to social media. You can envision YouTube, you can envision Rumble, you can envision X, Facebook. So you're used to seeing content there, so you know what that's like. That's one thing. Talking to a live audience is another thing. And not only that, sometimes when you talk to a live audience, it's being videoed. So if you're nervous and it's your first one, you're making a lot of mistakes and it doesn't flow so well, that's going to be recorded and put on YouTube as well. So it might not be as polished as some of your journalism. That was my experience. So it took me years to get over the nervousness of talking in front of an audience. And even then, it's it depends what frame of mind you're in, whether you had enough sleep. That's also important. Make sure you didn't go out the night before and go to a pub or something or go to a party. You definitely don't want. You want to be in as best physical condition as you can when you speak, and then because if you're struggling without sleep or other things physically, or it's hot out, like it's very hot at this event. So if you're not used to the heat, this can kind of take you out of your normal performance, comfortable performance. So the weather's important. If it's indoors, sometimes you have to deal with people shouting things at you. Because my stuff is very political, so sometimes there's people in the audience that are attacking you during your speech. So you have to be prepared how to deal with that. And so that's a skill, not to react, or there's somebody in the background holding up a sign, and or during the question and answer period, you're getting people who don't agree with you asking you questions and being quite aggressive, and you have to be able to absorb that and then answer in a kind of conversational, civilized and friendly way, and also engage in the debate. So you have to, all these things come with talking live. So you can, I don't think there's any instruction book. I think you just have to get out and do it. And my best advice to anybody would be to start with small groups of 6, groups of 10, groups of 20. And if you're able to present to small groups, this is the best way to practice and to perfect and to reflect and say, okay, and then get confidence, because speaking is all about confidence. It's all about confidence. There's nothing, that is actually the only thing. You don't even need to, there's a lot of people who are on the speaking circuit or do self-improvement or whatever. They're not necessarily an expert on anything. They're an expert on public speaking. They're an expert on the thing they're doing. So what are they selling at the end of the day? they're selling confidence. That's it.
Really?
They're selling confidence, self-confidence, and when they stand up there, and when you stand up there, and you're self-confident, you are the product. You are the thing. And they came to see you confidently delivering a speech, and there's organizations that's what they're based on, like the Toastmasters, or the the Society of Public Speaking, or whatever. It's all of the speeches are about speaking.
Oh.
All of them, and so that's what you're selling. And Tony Robbins and all these self-improvement and self-development people, that's basically how they started, just talking. They just started talking, and then they started talking about talking. And then they became multimillionaires because people are buying the ticket because they want to feel that confidence. They want to be inspired by that confidence. And it's not necessarily about what they're talking about. It's about their presence. That's what people are going to see. When people go to see some of these, like Tony Robbins types, there's a bunch of other these dynamic public speakers. They're going to capture that energy to get, and hope that they can absorb some of that and then use that in their business and use that in their, whatever their project or their profession is. That's all.
Yeah, I like it.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's simple.
So, thanks for that. My other question would be, something about the hardware. What makes a great microphone? How do you call those properties? Have you done some research in that? Because I feel if you have something to say, then at least you have to try to be audible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then which microphone do you choose, and how are those properties called if you are shopping for microphones?
Yeah. Well, we're not using any microphones here, just the phone.
Yeah.
But in your next video, you probably want to get some audio microphones, which you can probably work with the phone.
Yeah.
Plug into the phone and have two lapels here. I think one of the best companies right now is probably Hollyland.
Oh, okay.
Hollyland. And it'll have two radio receivers. So you could do two, one for you, one for your guest. Or you can buy three and have one for you and two guests, whatever. And then the receiver plugs into the phone. And so whatever's being recorded in high quality automatically goes into your phone. No matter how you're walking, no wires required, wireless. So that's probably the best. There's a few other good brands that Rode, or R-O-D-E, Rode.
Yes.
They do a similar system.
Yeah.
And the ones you really want to get are the ones where they can give you a text transcript of the audio, which is an app on your phone that will take the voices that are recorded, put it and organize it into a text file.
And that's part of the app of the microphone?
That's right, yeah, all in one.
Okay.
So then you have your text. So then you could do a blog post with that, and maybe make an article with an interview or something. So you have the video and you have the text. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. It said there's two or three good companies that do those. So there's no shortage of the tools. It's about 300 euros. You have to be prepared to spend around 300 euros for that.
Brilliant, thank you. So, and the same as for editing. Do you do your editing yourself, or do you other people? And what type of software, hardware? Is there a certain type of computer that you would look for?
Yeah.
And certain software that is your favorite for editing?
Yeah, I think you have to. If you're just starting doing podcasts, you should do your own editing, do everything yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, and then build, and then if you start to accumulate equipment and tripods and you get busy, you can get people to help you at that point. But if you require people to help you at the beginning, you'll never, 9 times out of 10, you will never be able to get started. It's too difficult. But the tools are there, the tools are available. You don't need actually anyone to help. You can do it all yourself. And editing, there's a number of different editing. Probably Adobe, the most expensive is Adobe, but Premiere you can edit video in, that's fine. And then you can also edit in iMovie on an iPhone.
Yes.
You can even edit straight on the iPhone and just cut it and get it all done. Like literally, you can make a music video if you want on your phone. You don't need anything. Or DaVinci Resolve, is another good editor. That's free. There's a free version. And if you pay a little more, one-time fee, you can do AI will edit it for you.
Oh,
It'll do the audio tracks and the video tracks. And then there's a few other options there. I think Final Cut Pro is the Mac desktop video editor of choice. So really it's Premiere, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro on the Mac, or DaVinci Resolve. Those are the top three.
Excellent.
So one of those. Or you can get ScreenFlow, which is made by Wirecast, and that's quite a nice little simple editor program. It's not too expensive.
Well, excellent, because sometimes it's hard to figure out where to begin, and then it's easier to hear it from somebody than to hear it from reviews. So how are we for time? Time for another question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you decide who to interview, and also how do you decide which interviews to accept? Because how do you get approached? Do you decline sometimes, or do you always say yes? Or what is your process in deciding who to ask and also who to accept as an interviewer?
Yeah, I think if you're just starting, it's not likely you're going to be able to interview a lot of people that might be busy on a lot of big podcasts, because they will, their objective, as a media person, is they're trading their time for visibility. So they want to get to the most amount of audience as possible, because you're competing with all of the other shows that want to interview them. So unless you have a personal relationship with them, and you might be able to arrange something outside of the norm, right?
All right.
So that's something to consider. So I think for me anyway, when I started doing interviews and things like that, it was always people that I knew myself, that I found interesting. And then occasionally, as you work your way through and you do more, you then build your channel up a little bit. You then can get kind of a chance to do people that are, a little bit more visible. People have their own shows and things like that. And then over time, it's evolution. It's an evolution. But the most important thing, and he could even be a person who's not well known, but has an interesting story, life story, or professional story, or some experience in their skills or profession that might be of interest. And this is how you build your channel up. But you also have to be able to do your own pieces to camera as well as the host without a guest.
Oh, okay.
And then that's how you develop your knowledge. So and you share that knowledge, whatever you're researching, or saying, I want to discuss this is what I've learned, and you share that and put that and upload that, and then that creates value for your audience. And that's how you build up followers, actually, by transferring knowledge to the audience. So and you do that through your work. So you're trading your work and your research time, and then you trade that for your audience attention.
Okay.
It's an exchange. Yeah. And their attention gives you subscriptions, views, and likes, and it builds your channel up, and more people come in, and it allows you. So the higher you move up that sort of ladder, then you may get access to better guests that might be more interested in what you're doing. Because if the guest is interested, you might not have a big channel, but if they like what you're doing and they're interested in what you're doing, then they might really want to talk to you, and they say, oh, I'd like to have a discussion with this person. They sound interesting. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that knowledge exchange as well, because everyone wants to build their knowledge up. And sometimes you do that through a host on a podcast. Sometimes you do that just by listening. So either way. But I would say you have to. I think it's important to be able to do both. You've got to work with a guest and work solo.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah.
And they both kind of come together, and they feed each other. So
yes.
Yeah. So that's my advice.
If you work solo, you do a piece all by yourself. How do you prepare it, and how do you do it? You just do a lot of research and then just speak from the heart, or just go minute by minute and plan the whole thing out?
Either way. It could be as simple as I was talking about this with someone, and I went to look into it, and this is what I've learned, and you show your documents, put them on screen or the website or whatever, and this is what they say, and you're kind of reporting. It's a bit like journalism, and then you add your opinion at the end. You say, well, you know, this is interesting, but however, we need to learn more. This needs to be more clear, and perhaps we'll go further with this in my next video, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like there's that, or you could just do a presentation with PowerPoint or Keynote on the Mac, and then build that into your video. Very easy, very simple, and where you can go show quotes, text, data, and make a presentation. And that's again creating value. And so you put the work in, but you know the value you put out will last a long time if it's a good presentation, and then that will give benefits to you in the future, because your reputation is based on what you publish. So you're responsible. You have to be accountable for everything you put up. So it has to be good and also thorough and objective, and opinionated if you feel strongly about the issue. You have to inject your opinion, inject how you feel about it. But I think a good formula is people have different views and ideas on different things, and no one agrees on everything. But I think a fair way to do it in all cases would be to give an objective analysis or presentation, and then if you disagree with anything in that objective presentation, you can add that at the end. You can say, but having said that, my personal opinion after saying all that is this, and da da da. But you know, maybe we can investigate this further in my next video, and then, you know, people are interested in the next video. So you have to build this kind of, you know,
the cliffhanger
flow. Yeah, it's a bit of a flow, and you have to build that.
Yeah, well, excellent. Do we have time to talk a little bit about finance and how to make money as a presenter?
That's another video.
That's another video.
I would say that's the advanced class.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
learn the craft first.
Yeah.
Get good at the craft.
Yes.
And then after that you can start looking at monetization. But that's really, I mean, I didn't monetize my work for years because I just I didn't have enough of an audience to monetize it but you know, listen, bottom line is if you're good at what you do, and if you and there's 10 other people that do what you do, or 5 other people, if you're the best out of the 5, you will get speaking bookings, you will get attention, people will want to come to you because they want to know what you know.
Yeah.
And so and that's based on the work you put in learning and then sharing what you learned with your audience. So that's value that you create, and it keeps gaining value over time, and then it translates into success online, on digital, and live events as well. So, and then over time you build up a library, you build up a reputation, you build up an archive of work, and that's valuable. And if it's well done, it'll keep delivering value for years. And that's what everyone's goal is, really, I think, to have a library of work that is still valuable years from now.
Okay, great. So I really want to thank you. Maybe for you they were total beginners questions, but there are total beginners out there like myself. And I actually feel that this has given me some hands and feet to go further. So I'm very grateful. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
And well, see you on the next video.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
and say where we're at as well. Where are we?
We are in Liverpool, Co. Yeah. So,
Festival.
is there something you want to say about Liverpool, Co?
No, I think Liverpool Co 2025 in Liberland, between Serbia and Croatia.
Yes, it's a fantastic atmosphere. Make sure you are here next year for Liverpool Co 2026.
Yep.
Don't miss it.
You have to
It's
get
awesome.
that plug in.
And the nature. Don't forget on the nature. I'll show you how beautiful it is here.